Welcome to AnimeFan Narrations, Solo Leveling, Episode 52.
Did he really just say 30 million won for such a mediocre dagger?
Wait, how much did you say?
30 million won, Hunter Nim.
Hold on a second.
Turning away, Jinwoo pretended to rummage through his belongings. In reality, he summoned the Night Killer from his inventory and presented it to the staff member.
Alright then, how much would you value this one at?
Now it was the staff member's turn to be taken aback. His eyes went wide as he examined the weapon.
Is this your current weapon? Wow. You can clearly see the craftsmanship of a master artisan in this dagger.
No, actually, I just bought it from the store.
The staff member hesitated briefly, then spoke with a confident smile.
I'm not a certified appraiser, so this is just my opinion, but I'd estimate it's worth at least 100 million won, possibly more.
Jinwoo's expression grew serious.
But I bought this for only 3 million gold. Or was it closer to 2.8 million?
Noticing Jinwoo's reaction, the staff member awkwardly scratched the back of his head.
Did I say something wrong? I specialize in weapons, so I thought I could make a decent guess, even though appraising isn't my expertise.
No, it's not that at all.
Truthfully, Jinwoo was just taken aback by how exorbitant the price was. That was it. But then again, he recalled Kim Sung-sik's steel sword, his very first weapon, which only had an attack power of 10, yet supposedly cost over 3 million won. Even Yoo Jinho's gear, stuff the kid barely even used, came with price tags exceeding 100 million won each. It really shouldn't have been surprising that items with high stats from the system store could command such steep prices in the real world as well.
I just hadn't given it much thought until now.
Mainly because he wasn't particularly focused on making money in a hurry.
Wait a second.
Right now, his inventory was overflowing with gold. If he could use that gold to purchase items from the store and then sell them at sky-high prices in the real world, Jinwoo's thoughts started to race.
Could this mean I won't need to sell the bead of avarice after all?
The moment this realization struck him, was it his imagination, or did he just hear the jubilant cheers of the magic soldiers concealed within his shadow?
Solo Leveling, Chapter 98.
Holy crap! Appa, those reporters are still hanging around outside.
Jinah exclaimed as she peeked out of the window. It was already late in the evening, but the reporters had not budged. Like a persistent storm cloud, they remained gathered at the apartment's entrance.
Look, up there!
Spotting a figure by the window, they immediately assumed it was Jinwoo and scrambled to aim their cameras. The sudden flurry of camera flashes startled Jinah, making her jump back. She hurriedly closed the curtains and turned around, exhaling like a frightened little animal.
Whew.
Jinwoo, having just returned from the hunter auction, had been looking forward to taking a well-earned break. Instead, his expression had grown noticeably rigid.
Should I go downstairs and tell them to leave?
He didn't mind them disrupting his peace, but his sister's studies were another matter entirely. Jinah was a senior in high school, preparing for the most important exam of her life. This was the time when even the faintest disturbance, like the sound of footsteps in the hallway, could set off overly sensitive students.
Jinah isn't one to make a fuss about things like that, but still.
Could she even focus with all the commotion happening outside? Just as Jinwoo was about to intervene,
No, don't do it!
Jinah frantically waved her hands to stop him.
Appa, people are already trash-talking you online. Can you imagine what they'd say if you went and drove the reporters away?
Trash-talking me? When did I do anything to deserve that?
Perplexed, Jinwoo tilted his head. In response, Jinah quickly pulled up a news article on her phone and held it out to him. He took the phone from her and began reading. The screen displayed a photo of Jinwoo standing outside the association's entrance, casually answering a phone call while surrounded by a crowd of reporters. It seemed like the picture had been taken by a professional photographer because, even though Jinwoo considered himself plain-looking, he had to admit the shot made him look pretty good. That was a small source of satisfaction. However, scrolling further down, he saw the comments. This guy has such an awful attitude. Completely ignoring the reporters, huh? He's way too full of himself. There were countless remarks along these lines. Among them, the most upvoted comment read, "Mom, I've become a rank S." The way the comment perfectly matched the image made Jinwoo chuckle involuntarily. Jinah, witnessing his reaction, looked at him in disbelief.
How can you laugh at that?
But it's hilarious.
When Jinwoo showed her the top comment, Jinah nearly burst out laughing herself but barely managed to hold it in. As if to compensate, she quickly shifted the focus.
No, wait, that's not the point, is it?
Her cheeks slightly flushed, she raised her voice.
Why on earth did you have to answer the phone right there? You knew there were so many reporters around? Now everyone knows my name.
Jinwoo, unbothered, replied with an air of confidence.
Do I really need to consider the feelings of reporters when it's my little sister calling me?
Jinah was left speechless. No matter how she tried to spin it, he had a point, and she couldn't come up with a counter-argument.
I can never beat him in a debate.
Jinwoo handed the phone back to her.
Here.
Taking it back with a slightly annoyed expression, Jinah muttered.
Anyway, I'll manage, so just don't bother with the reporters, okay?
Alright, got it.
Jinwoo nodded in agreement. If things continued as they were, he might have taken action. But the association had already assured him that the reporters would be ordered to disperse within a day or two.
I can put up with this for now.
Besides, Jinah didn't want the situation to escalate any further, so it was better to let things be.
By the way, what in the world is going on?
Jinah stared at her brother, her eyes filled with curiosity and disbelief.
My own Appa is now a rank S hunter, and reporters are camped outside our house.
People said encountering a rank S hunter even once in a lifetime was rare, yet here she was, living under the same roof as one. And not just any rank S hunter, her brother. It was only natural that she felt overwhelmed by the situation. Jinah sounded like she still couldn't fully process the reality before her. Unfortunately for her, she'd have to adjust sooner rather than later.
Just like I did.
Jinwoo chuckled softly. To help ease his sister's lingering disbelief, he playfully pinched her cheeks. Predictably, Jinah responded the same way she always had, by trying to kick him.
Ouch!
But this time, she ended up clutching her foot and hopping around in pain. Jinah shot him a scornful side-eye, as if accusing him of going too far, while Jinwoo merely shrugged in response. It seemed it would take her quite some time to accept that her brother was now a rank S awakened.
Appa, you're going to be a lot busier now, aren't you?
Jinah asked cautiously. Jinwoo nodded. There was a long list of things he wanted to accomplish and a mountain of tasks waiting for him, but his immediate focus was clearing the demon's castle. He had even gone so far as to purchase a flame-resistant defensive artifact specifically for tackling the upper floors. It had cost him so much that he felt like his heart had dropped into his stomach, but fortunately, he managed to secure a loan from the Hunter auction by using one of the store's Rarity A items as collateral.
I'm already in debt right after becoming a rank S.
A dry chuckle escaped his lips at the thought. Well, if the items he purchased from the store could fetch high prices at auctions, his debt would disappear in no time.
Then, I guess it'll be harder to see you around, huh?
Hearing that he'd likely get much busier, Jinah looked a bit downcast. Being left alone wasn't exactly something to look forward to. Without saying a word, Jinwoo gently placed his hand on her head. In a few days, once he conquered the demon's castle, there wouldn't be a single moment where his sister would be left to fend for herself at home.
I'll make sure of it.
At that moment, Jinwoo's expression shifted as his eyes narrowed. His gaze darted to the front door.
Someone's coming.
Jinah seemed to sense his sudden change in demeanor and asked cautiously, her voice tinged with worry.
Appa?
Go to your room for a while, okay?
What's wrong?
A presence had exited the elevator and was heading straight for their apartment.
It's a hunter?
The person approaching emitted faint, almost negligible magic energy. While Jinwoo didn't detect any signs of hostility, he also wasn't in the mood to deal with an unexpected visitor. Could it be someone sent by a guild? Or perhaps a reporter reckless enough to rely on their awakened abilities? Either way, Jinwoo wasn't about to welcome someone intruding on his personal space, especially at such a late hour. Standing in front of the door, Jinwoo assessed the situation.
With that level of strength,
He didn't even bother summoning his weapons. Instead, he casually loosened his muscles, tilting his head left and right until his neck made a satisfying cracking sound. And just as he anticipated, the sound of knocking echoed through the door, prompting Jinah to scurry into her room, startled. Jinwoo silently opened the door. As the door creaked open, a familiar face appeared through the widening gap. The man standing there spoke with a trembling voice.
형님,
His nose was running, and he seemed on the verge of tears. Yoo Jinho stood at the door with a tear-streaked face and a runny nose, looking as pitiful as a child. Jinwoo, utterly speechless, found himself frozen in place. Yoo Jinho broke the silence with a shaky, tear-filled voice.
형님, I got kicked out. My dad threw me out of the house.
Upon closer inspection, Jinwoo noticed the enormous backpack strapped to Yoo Jinho's back, along with an assortment of luggage clutched in his hands.
wait a second. Weren't you already living on your own?
Well, yeah, but the villa I was staying in was under my father's name. He confiscated it, and he froze all my bank accounts.
A father freezing every single bank account of his own son. It sounded like something straight out of a drama. But then again, considering it was Chairman Yoo Myunghwan, one of South Korea's most influential figures, it seemed strangely plausible. Still, what could Yoo Jinho have done to provoke such a reaction from his father? Jinwoo's questioning eyes bore into him, and Yoo Jinho stammered as he continued.
So 형님, I was wondering, if I could maybe crash here for a while?
Jinwoo wordlessly closed the door and locked it. From her room, Jinah had been watching the scene unfold. Seeing Jinwoo turn away from the door, she quickly approached him, curiosity written all over her face.
Appa, who was that? Do you know him?
Jinwoo shook his head without hesitation.
Nope, never seen him before.
Really? Then why was he here?
Don't worry about it, he must have had the wrong address.
Are you sure?
Something about the situation didn't sit right with her, but Jinwoo firmly guided his skeptical sister back to her room. Meanwhile, Yoo Jinho's desperate cries echoed through the door.
Youngnim! Youngnim!
Don't you think you were a bit too hard on Jinho earlier today?
Yoo Myunghwan tugged at his tie with irritation. That insolent child. He was on the verge of inheriting the Yoojin Guild, the future cornerstone of Yoojin Construction's operations, yet he dared to respond like that?
I've decided to work for Youngnim's guild.
Work for his Youngnim's guild?
That foolish boy got what he deserved.
Yoo Myunghwan scoffed, his voice dripping with disdain. If his son wanted to carve his own path, he would have to shoulder all the responsibilities that came with it. The father resolved to teach him that every choice carried its own consequences.
Thanks for watching Solo Leveling on AnimeFan Narrations. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for updates. Share your thoughts in the comments. See you next time.